Cyril Ramaphosa has responded for the first time to the claims made in public by the former head of the state security agency, Arthur Fraser. Fraser said yesterday that he was lodging a criminal charge against Ramaphosa, saying that he had evidence that Ramaphosa's Limpopo farm had been robbed of $4 million. He also claimed that Ramaphosa had broken the law by not telling the police. He even seemed to suggest that Ramaphosa had kidnapped and perhaps interrogated workers at his farm and then paid them money to keep it quiet. Fraser himself has been accused of using the state security agency for political purposes when Jacob Zuma was present, and for using the agency to enrich himself. He's denied wrongdoing. The spokesperson for the president is Vincent Magwenya. In fact, it's his second day on the job. Vincent, good afternoon to you, and thank you for your time. What's your reaction to these claims from Arthur Fraser? Vincent, unfortunately, we can't hear you. I don't know if you're still on mute.
Sorry about that, Stephen.
Not at all. Let me put the question again. It's only the second day on the job. What is your reaction to these claims from Arthur Fraser?
Yeah, no, thank you, Stephen. No, look, the president is clear. There is no basis for the claims of criminal conduct that have been made against him in Mr. Fraser's statement. However, as we've mentioned in our statement, we can confirm that a robbery took place at the president's farm in Limpopo on around the 9th of February in 2020, in which proceeds from the sale of game were stolen. The president was attending an African Union summit in Addis Ababa at the time the incident occurred.
What actually happened on the farm?
Well, Stephen, the president, as you will know, has a game breeding farm. On the normal course of farming operations, clients come in and out to acquire various sorts of game. And in this particular case, there had been a sale of game in a form of cash. And it wasn't just one sale, it was a number of transactions. And subsequent to that, there was a break-in in which, as I said, proceeds from the sale of game were stolen. On being advised of the robbery, the president then reported the incident to the head of the Presidential Protection Unit of the South African Police Service for investigation. Let me hasten to add that in light of Mr. Fraser's charge, the president stands ready to cooperate with any law enforcement investigation of these matters.
How much money was stolen? Was it really $4 million?
No, Stephen, that figure is hugely inflated. The incident happened 2 years ago. So what we are doing now, we're going back into the records to look at invoices during that time to re-establish the amount of money. But I can say with confidence that that number that Mr. Fraser cited is hugely inflated.
So the money was never actually recovered?
The money was never recovered, Stephen.
Vincent, I mean, I appreciate you're new at the presidency again, but this is an astonishing story that the president's farm was robbed 2 years ago, the money was never recovered, and we as the general public were not told.
Well, Stephen, the president, I suppose, is not, or at the time was not immune to any form of crime that impacts either South Africans. I think that's something to note. Secondly, there was no attempt on the side of the president to really hide the issue. Equally, there was caution not to create alarm about the issue. So I don't want to speculate because there's an investigation coming up, but I can just assure you and the viewers that there was absolutely nothing wrong in the process of the sale, and there was no attempt on the side of the president to cover up anything. Hence, a very strong and categoric assertion that there is no basis for the claims of criminal conduct that have been made against him.
Okay, so just to be clear on your version, and you can say this with confidence, I presume, the president did not break any law in relation to this?
No. As far as the president is concerned, he did not break any law, none whatsoever. What's curious is the fact that Mr. Fraser used to be part of the security cluster. He had access to the president. He could still have access to the president even now as a former senior public servant. And he made no attempt to raise this matter directly with the president. Instead, he's gone some time after the incident to take the matter to the police and to the public domain, the motive of which remains quite unclear.
Well, I mean, the timing of this is interesting. And I mean, obviously, the context, of course, is that there's an ANC national conference at the end of the year. Some of us have memories that go back to 2017. We all remember the claims that were made. Some of them were true, some of them were not. Do you think there's anything in the timing? I mean, why would this kind of claim be made now, at this particular time, I suppose, would be the question.
Stephen, we will leave those conclusions to astute observers and journalists like yourselves. It is curious as to why now. It is curious indeed as to why did Mr. Fraser not seek to approach the president directly. It will be interesting to hear how Mr. Fraser responds to those questions if he were to avail himself for interviews and engage openly on the matter. On our side, we can only await the formal approach from the South African Police Service and for the president to fully cooperate with that investigation.
So, I mean, I would presume, I mean, you know, if we look at what's happening around us at the moment politically, are you preparing for more claims like this, true or untrue?
Well, Stephen, it's a robust environment. It's, as you've alluded, it's an environment that is filled with disinformation campaigns. In the case of the president, he remains resolute in leading the fight against corruption, restoring the integrity and capability of public institutions, overcoming the legacy of state capture, and he's not going to be deterred by disinformation campaigns.
Vincent Magwenya, spokesperson for President Cyril Ramaphosa. Thank you very much indeed for your time this afternoon. Well, a very interesting story. It is, of course, 2022, in some ways 2017 all over again.